welcome back. You know the voice. I am Julian. My name today is Big Brother, and I have Tyler is still not with us, but I have another redliner with us, and this might be a problem because I got word that giving you attention is a problem.
It leads to bad things. Or it depends on. Well, it leads to stories. How about that?
I like stories, and the voice you're hearing right now is Andy. Welcome in.
Thank you, Julian. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Thank you for something that I got.
Oh, look at that.
2 days ago.
Look at that. Look at how that works. You send someone something via the mail, and a couple days later, like magic, they get it delivered.
Got it. And I was just flipping through, and I'm like, wow, I was looking at it, and I'm like, yeah, I can easily tell I'm going to be reading this book for a while. But
it's a great travel book. So if you like to travel, if you have time, either on an airplane or on a bus or however you travel, don't read it while you're driving, right? Obviously, that's a no-no.
Yeah, I try not to do that.
Try not to, right? I mean, I don't know if reading while driving is the same level of offense as texting while driving. Like they're the same kind of nonsense, right? Same kind of indignancy, right?
Yes. But no, I definitely try not to read and drive at the same time.
That's not.
Keep my eyes on the road, hands on the wheel, so all the good things. But we're here for a question. But before we get into the question that you brought to me, how was your last 7-ish days?
It's been good. It's been good. No, everything has been really good. Recently, I got engaged to my now fiance, right?
Congratulations.
Now fiance. Thank you. Went well. We were in Europe for a couple of weeks. I showed her my old stomping grounds, and then we did a couple other spots throughout Europe. We did Portugal and Spain and everything. The idea of the whole entire trip was, one, for the engagement, and then two, there was a music festival that we planned for and went to. So that all kind of came together in one nice little package.
Very nice. It's like you planned the whole thing.
Yeah, planning sometimes leads to good stories, sometimes.
Anything else?
Sometimes. No, I'm just surviving the heat, right? So I live in Las Vegas, and I think we're over the crazy summer heat. Now we're kind of teeter-tottering at around 100 degrees. It rained a little bit the other day. It's definitely humid and everything. But we jokingly say, oh, it's only 103 degrees. Well, it's still hot. But when you come down from 115, 103 is very doable.
Yeah, understandable, because here being in Atlanta and then living in Florida, I understand that completely, because my car has been the hottest I see my car this year was 102 degrees. So
but you also have humidity, right? That adds the extra layer on top of it, which we rarely have here. So our heat is more bearable, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, it is hot here sometimes.
Yeah, for sure.
But for me, I've done a lot in my last. I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I'm always going a little bit more than my 7-ish days, or at least this time. It was so today. I had my I took a physical.
Did you study?
Which isn't a big deal for most people, but it's just like I haven't done it in what almost feels like 5 years. So I'm glad I'm just able to do that. And I've seen a lot of family. My dad's side had a family reunion. Then my mom's side had a family reunion at the same time. Was able to go to both of those because they were close enough. Then I just went to see my family in New York. Spent some time there, and then I'm actually tomorrow I'm going to Delaware to see my grandfather. So
nice traveling.
Yeah,
awesome.
A lot of traveling. So there's a book that I may or may not have that I've been told is great for traveling.
Well, good. I'm glad. I hope it suits you well.
Yes.
I hope it serves you well. How about that?
Yes. No. Like I said, I was just flipping through the pages. I'm like, yeah, this is gonna be a book that I enjoy.
Good.
What else? Oh, and then I got a new tattoo. That is like.
All right. Let's see it.
I can't.
If you can show it.
I can't show it because I would have to remove my whole shirt and everything. It's a
lot of work.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. What was it? How about this? Was it what you wanted, and was it worth it?
Yes is what I wanted. Because my little short story with so it's tattoo number 2 of 3, and I've had the design since I was in the 11th grade, and I actually modified it just a little bit just so to make it my own. It's hard to explain, but the base of it was, do you know what a tribal spiral is?
I can visualize it.
Yeah. So just the 3 spirals and all connected.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's in its base form that, but I modified each branch to mean something else.
Cool.
Yeah. So.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So
did it come out the way you wanted it?
Yes, it
okay,
came out.
Perfect.
Yes,
That's all that matters.
Because did the design myself, and the artist was going to put that directly on me, which for the first tattoo was okay, and I'm like, I'm okay with the errors. This one, I'm like, can you tweak it just a little bit, because I am not an artist, but it's still exactly how I want it to come.
You better make the decision beforehand, because afterwards it doesn't work too well.
Exactly.
Right? You gotta make the design decisions before you start inking away.
Exactly, but no, it's really nice. It's simpler than my first one, and I enjoy it. So now it's just the last one, which hopefully doesn't come for a while.
Okay. Well, I wish you luck whenever the third one comes, and I wish you a speedy recovery for the healing process, because I know it does take a little while and it can get in the way and can be bothersome.
Yeah,
so
luckily it's healing nice and well. Like I said, just taking my physical, doctor said, it's like, yeah, no, everything's fine, it's not infected. I'm like, perfect, that's all I needed to hear.
Good. Yep.
But with that said, ready to get into the question?
Yeah, man, let's do it.
All right, so Andy, you brought the question. What is the question?
Sure. So one I've been noodling on, what I've been pondering for a bit is, do we romanticize the past too much? Or in other words, do we remember the past in much more of a positive light than it really was?
I really like this question. Do you, even though it's your question and you're asking me, do you have a thought to this before I give my opinion?
Yeah, I mean, I think everyone has that. We take a trip down memory lane, and I think we all kind of look back, I would assume, fondly upon most of our past experiences. I look back when I first moved to Vegas. I've been here for 21 years now. I look back and I think to myself, man, things were easier back then. Things were better back then. I just, didn't have a worry in the world. And then I thought about it, and I stopped and I thought, and I go, was that really how it was, or did I just remember it in that way? And then I kind of unpacked a little bit further. And I was like, no, I was struggling. I was struggling with work, with romantic relationships. I was trying to go to school and juggle, other responsibilities at the same time. I was trying to pay rent. I was trying to, just all these different things. I lost my wallet at one point. I got really terribly drunk one night. That was not a good experience, right? So I think that, we tend to sometimes look back and make that blanket statement. Well, it was better. It was easier back then. But really, was it though? I mean, I don't know, right? That's something for you to kind of figure out and ask yourself.
Mind you, I guessed my full thought process, because even though I knew the question, never once thought about it whatsoever. And I do think we romanticize the past on the fact that we try to kind of what you're saying, like we forget the hard times for the most part. But I feel like, what am I trying to say? That I think it's healthy for us, because remembering all which I find really funny, is because I know most people, at least for me, I tend to lean on the negative side of things, usually with questions, but I think it's like trying to remember every time you stubbed your toe or you lost whatever match. Yes, it sucked. So in the nostalgia of things, why would you want to bring that moment up without being prompted to?
Sure.
But
yeah. I think you hit the nail on the head, right? What's the point, right? Why would you want to remember that one time you got pulled over for speeding? There's nothing of value to be gained from that memory. So sure, we don't remember it, because why would you want to?
True, but it's funny you mentioned that, because it's a memory that I think we should definitely remember the negative aspects of things, because it's a learning lesson for, hopefully, if you learn from it. Because I remember a time that I did get pulled, and this was the first time when I was coming back from doing something. It was a work-related trip, driving by myself. It was late at night, going from Florida to Georgia, and putting it in the GPS and everything. And like I said, late at night, don't know where I'm going, and just going at my regular speed, which may or may not have been speeding, but I looked down real fast to make sure I'm going the right way, and that's what it was. It was a back road. Make sure I'm going the right way. Look up, I'm like, where's this car doing behind me? Like, I don't know, because again, it's like, let's just say 2 something in the morning. No one else is on the road, and I just see lights behind me. I'm like, where did you come from? Past the traffic light, lights come on. I'm like, what'd I do?
Yep.
But luckily didn't get a ticket then, and just kept on going about my day. My supervisor did not know about this story at this time, so hopefully if she ever hears this, I don't get in trouble for something I've done in the past.
There you go. Well, it's just, it's hearsay at this point, right? You can't prove or disprove anything.
Exactly. It's just one random night.
It's whatever. 2 people talking on a web, whatever.
I can be making all of this stuff up. Who knows?
Yeah, you know what? You can look at my book and say, look, are these stories true? Like, they're true to me. They really happened that way objectively. According to me, they did, right? But again.
Yes. And then just the second time was in Puerto Rico, and funny enough, me not paying attention, officer was right beside me, and I'm looking at my phone, and so I immediately knew what they were pulling me over. But I wanted to play dumb, and like, officer comes, speaks to me in Spanish, knew exactly what he said, allegedly. Allegedly. But I'm like, I have no idea, my bad. I'm just a dumb English speaker who
just a silly American got lost on the way.
Silly American just trying to get to this one location. So those are mine.
Get to the bar.
Yeah, but
you jogged a memory of mine that I haven't thought about in a while. So it was me. Okay, way back yonder. I was in a fraternity here at UNLV.
Okay.
A bunch of dudes doing, like college stuff. And we went to Ensenada in Mexico for spring break. One of our brothers, his parents had like a timeshare. So he said, hey, if you guys want to come down for the weekend, we'll have drivers. They'll drive us to and from the bars and everything. Cool. So I drove down there with a buddy of mine, and I drove my Jeep Wrangler. Love my Jeep Wrangler. Been driving it forever. I took the top off, the doors off and everything. No, I took the top off, but I left the doors on. Drove it down from Las Vegas all the way down to Ensenada, through the border and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Not a problem, right? It was perfect weather for Jeeping, right? For taking the top off and whatnot. And then on the way back, it was me and the buddy again. We're driving through Tijuana on the freeway. If you've ever been through Tijuana, driving back north to get back onto American soil, at least when I was there, this is some 15, 20 years ago, all the freeways kind of split off, right? You drive north and then left to go this way, right to go to the border, straight to go whatever. And we're just slightly lost. And we're like, okay, well, which way do we go? I think it's this way. We're not quite sure yet. Or we're not quite sure. We don't want to take a wrong turn because we've been driving forever. We just want to get home, right, per se. So there was a federale, there was a cop pull over to the side out of his car, just hanging out kind of by the side of the freeway. And we kind of slowed down a bit, and my buddy was like, hey, sir, can you tell us which way to the border? and this guy, looking back, it was probably the dumbest thing we could have said to anyone. But the guy then said, why aren't you wearing a seatbelt? Pull over right over here. We're like, all right, here we go. And sure enough, my buddy wasn't wearing a seatbelt, but I don't think that was the biggest thing they worried about down there. They just wanted to pull over these 2 dumb Americans and see what they could do, to them and with them, or where they can get from them. So he pulls us over, or rather we pull over, and he comes up, he goes, not wearing a seatbelt is a very serious offense. And we're like, I'm sure, and in my head, I'm like, I'm sure it is, right? He's like, well, I'm going to write you a ticket. You have to go down to the police station downtown to get this resolved. This whole, he speaks up this whole ordeal for a nonsense, right? For nothing. I shouldn't say nothing happened. Sure, the guy wasn't wearing a seatbelt, but it really was for nothing, right? And then the cop said, you're going to have to go down there. You have to pay the fine. You're going to be down there for a couple of hours, right? So he's like adding on this mountain of inconvenience. And then he was kind of he didn't say anything, but we definitely got the very strong impression of, this is now your turn. This is now your time to pay your way out of this. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge, right? So we both said, well, officer, I'm sorry, honest mistake. It's our first time here. We promise it won't happen again. Is there anything that we can do to make this entire misunderstanding go away, right? He says, well, you can either go down to the police station and pay the fine there, or you can pay the fine to me and I'll take care of it. In my head, I'm going to go, of course you will take care of it, right? What a nice gentleman that you are, right? And we're like, okay, well, I'm like, in my head, like, look, I was in the military. Like, I know that these games just have to be played, right? And boot camp is the same stuff, right? You just have to play the mental game and nod your head and try to get out of it. So, I'm like, back in my head, I'm like, I'll play your game. Well, sir, how much is the fine? $180. Like, okay, well, is there an ATM? I mean, we're ready just to split the difference, pay the dude, and get the hell out. Because the last thing we want to do is deal with a bunch of crooked federales being stuck in this loop-de-loop of can't go to the border because you have to pay the fine first, right? All that nonsense. So, we asked him, well, and we were right in the middle of the freeway. Is there an ATM around here? He's like, nope, right, obviously. And we're like, well, he's like, you have to pay the fine here or go downtown, right? And then, we're like, well, shit, do we have... I'm going through the middle console of the car, and my buddy's going through his pockets. And we started scraping together all the loose change and all the dollar bills that we had. And about 2 minutes later, we put our hands up like Oliver Twist, right? We were like, please, sir, may I have some more? No, it was like $3.74 in change and a dollar bill. And we're like, sir, this is all we have. Like, there's kind of like with the subtext stuff, you can fleece us all you want. We have no money on us, right? So you can put all the pressure on us that you want. Unless we go to an ATM, we're not going to get anything more out of us. The guy looked at us, looked at the sad handful of change, and he's like, just get the fuck out of here. I think he realized that he just wasn't going to get anything out of us. And we're so apologetic. We're like, we're so sorry. It'll never happen again. It's our first time. We weren't crying, but we're definitely playing we're just dumb white American tourists, right? And we're honest mistake. It'll never happen again. And then he finally took pity on us, and he's like, get the fuck out of here.
I don't do it often, but playing dumb gets me out of a lot of... Sometimes. Just makes things a little bit easier.
To that point, like I work with some people that I wonder, like, who puts on your shoelaces? Who ties your shoelaces in the morning, right? But then I have to also think of, I would love to sometimes, if I could turn on and off, I would love to sometimes live in a world where I was just blissfully ignorant of everything, right? Because I do believe that people who live like that, who just don't know or don't care, maybe a little bit of both, I do believe that they live an easier, more stress or a more stress-less life than people who are always like with it and on it and try to, be on top of things all the time.
No, that is. I would be afraid for that switch. That sometimes like, well,
duct tape it shut. There you go. Just turn it off and just duct tape it. There you go.
No, that is actually really funny. So, I have backup questions. And so with both our stories combined, the question was, are you in the same place that you were last year?
I don't think much changes from year to year as you get older, right? I would definitely say I'm in a different spot than I was 10 years ago, definitely 20 years ago. The me I was 20, 25 years ago is nowhere near the person I am today. I've gone through a lot of, growth and I don't know. I've gone through my fair share of nonsense and lived to tell the tale. It sounds pretty awful. I didn't go through anything harrowing. But I don't know. I'd like to think I've grown tremendously as a person over the last couple of decades. And I've taken all the good things that I've learned, taken those with me, and hopefully making some better decisions now. But maybe a year ago, not so much, right? But 20 years ago, 100%. If you were to talk to some of the people I still know from back in those days, they probably will tell you, yeah, Andy from 20 years ago is nowhere near the Andy that he is today. For the better, I would like.
Definitely, it seems like you mind you, for questionnaires, I've only met Andy, was this our third time actually talking to each other. So, but what I've seen of Andy, I seem like you seem like a good person, or at the very least, a funny person. So,
you know what? I think it's one of the reasons too why I enjoyed writing my stories and putting them on paper for others to read, is that maybe I may not have had a Tucker Max level of life of shenanigans, but I've had my own fair share of adventures, and I think they come through in the short stories, and I hope that when you read them, right, you're like, yep, that's 100%. That's totally the nonsense that Andy would say and do.
Yeah, like I said, I can't wait to read your book.
Good.
For me, I think you actually bring up a good point about you're older than me, so probably.
Let's go with it.
But just to say, throughout the decades, you've changed. I think I'm, at least in the last 2 years, I can easily see I know there's a different version of me than there was 2 years ago due to some hardships that I've had to deal with. But I'm definitely take it for what it is. Try to be better. Try not to make the same mistakes, I'm gonna say, quote unquote. Some of this try. Some of this isn't necessarily on me per se, as in I can't control other people's reactions. So
fair. How
people react to me is how people react to me. But I at least try to learn from. I was like, all right, what caused said reaction? So I'm like, all right, I know if I do X, Y, and Z, this is now a possibility as well.
Sure. Me and the lady, we have this saying that if we do something silly or stupid, right, we have this back and forth of, what did we learn? Nothing. You gonna do it again? Yeah.
I actually had a friend who said, if you do something 3 times, stop lying to yourself. You just like it. Don't stop trying to fool yourself.
I like that. The other one that comes to mind to that point is, if you're going to do something stupid, be smart about it. And that really can apply to a lot of things, right? If you're going to speed, make sure it's not around cops. If you're going to steal something, not that you should, make sure there's no one there to watch it. You know, like, if you're going to do something stupid, be smart about it.
I can agree with that. I can easily agree. If you're going to do something that you're not supposed to do, just be smart about it.
Okay, there was a chapter in the book that I'd like to share, since we're on the topic of doing something stupid. The chapter is called "Take Your Beating," and way back in the day, when I was a lad about yee-high, I decided it was a brilliant idea to skip school one day, which I did quite a bit back then. Now this is to set the stage in the mid-late 90s,
okay.
Right? So Super Nintendos were hot, especially in Germany, right? We got everything a little bit late, like technology took a minute for it to be translated and all that stuff, right? Nowadays, not so much. Back in the day, things took a while to get to Germany, right? Movies had to be translated, right? Stuff like that. So, skipping school one day. Keep in mind, Super Nintendos were hot, right? During that time, I was skipping school. I was going to a department store, and they had, I mean, there was nobody there. It was like 10 o'clock in the morning, and they had in the electronics aisle, they had like the Super Nintendo like games that you could sit there and play for free, right? They're all kind of locked up, so you couldn't like do anything with them. But whatever game they had in there, you can play for free and whatever. And usually they leave you alone, right? The staff. Well, that particular day, they didn't have it turned on, and finding someone to turn on the game, a lot of times they're like, no, kid, like, no, we're not going to do that just for you, right? Like, go off and do something, like go to school or whatever, right? Well, as I was kind of trolling or patrolling around the area, they had a display cage, and the display cage was just like vertical and horizontal bars, and behind in the display cage itself, I could see that they had a gaming the box for a Super Nintendo game. Okay. It was kind of cracked open in the back, and it was kind of, the game was like hanging out the back and everything. So the way I looked at it, I go, hey, there's a game cartridge hanging out, like to be, not that I'm saying it should be taken, but if I reached my hand in through the opening, I could have grabbed it and pulled it out. And of course, me and my teenage infinite wisdom, right, I decided that was a good idea. Don't ask me why I thought that. It wasn't a good idea, but at the time, dumb Andy, young and dumb Andy, decided that was a good opportunity. So I reached in there, grabbed the game cartridge, put it into my jacket pocket, and I walked out of there. I remember this very vividly. I told myself, walk slowly. If there's one thing that movies and shows have taught me, is that when you do something stupid, you do not want to run, because that raises attention, right? So if you're going to do something silly, you walk away, right? Don't attract attention to yourself. So I walk out of the store, through the front door, and I'm like, holy crap, I've made it. I got away with it, right? And then on the way back home, sitting on the train and riding that home, I wanted to look at what the spoils of my plunder were, right? So I pulled the game cartridge out. It was Mario Paint. Now, if you know anything about Super Nintendo games, especially back in those days, Mario Paint was a very, very, very unique game in that it came with an accessory that no other game before or after ever needed. It was a mouse. It was a Super Nintendo mouse that had the plug of a Super Nintendo joypad, but the actual mouse on the other end of the cable.
Okay.
Right? And again, the only game that ever needed it because of Super Mario Paint reason, right? So, of course, me not having a Super Nintendo because my parents didn't buy me one, I didn't know what to do with this game cartridge. I ended up selling it to a classmate of mine for good money back in the day, right? Now, I didn't know anything about this whole mouse accessory component. So he comes back the next day and he goes, hey, I need the mouse for it. I go, oh,
mouse.
well, crap. What am I supposed to do? I don't know what I'm supposed to do about that, right? I already spent the money. I can't exchange the money back for the game. I can't go back to the store seeing if I could, swipe the accessory that should have come with it. So I'm like, well, crap, I don't know what to do about that. So I kind of let him on for a couple days, and I was going to think of something. I never thought of anything, because what do you do to fix the problem? Nothing, right? You're screwed. So I remember a couple days later, after I tried to hold my classmate off on the issue for way longer than I was able to, or than he had patience for. Maybe like a week, maybe a week and a half passed. And then I guess the guy realized that for good money that he paid me, he wasn't going to be able to use the game because the accessory wasn't there, right? All makes sense. So I remember sitting on, taking care of I was on the crapper one evening, right? I was taking care of business, and then I heard the phone ring, and then my stepdad, picked it up, and through the door I could hear just all the keywords I need to hear, Super Mario or Mario Paint, Super Nintendo, mouse, money, 2 weeks. I heard all the keywords. I knew, okay, I'm cooked, right? So my stepdad, he came over to the door of the bathroom, and he kind of gave the knock. I'm like, we need to talk, right? I'm like, you don't say, right? So I'm sitting there, and I knew I was screwed. I was caught. What was I going to do? I'm like, so my options were I can sit on the crapper forever, right? Or to come out eventually.
Eventually.
Right? Eventually. The other option was there was a tiny window at the top of by the ceiling that the cats used to go in and out. I'm like, I could try to sneak out of there. Well, I wouldn't fit, and even if I were to fit, what would I do afterwards? Right? Just walk the streets, and then I don't know. Like, what was I going to do? And then I sat there for a bit longer, mulling over my options, and then I finally had an epiphany. Be like, look, man, the earlier I get out of here, the sooner this stage, this portion of my I don't know, this chapter of my life, the earlier I get out of there, the sooner I face the music, the sooner this whole thing will be over. So I went out there, faced the music. I got my fair share of discipline, from that entire happening. But the lesson to be learned from this is that take your beating, right? If you do something stupid and it's clearly your fault and you clearly goofed up, man up, fess up, and take your beating, right? That was one of those lessons of, yep, it sucked at the time, but I think I learned something from that. So
that I can relate to that. Mind you, I'm not as much of a troublemaker as most people. I sometimes say I'm a saint, but same scenario, but well, not same scenario, but same realization, because just like you, like TV showed me, I'm like, it's just easier just to get it through immediately than trying to hide it or push it to the side, because eventually you're gonna have to deal with it. So my story is, again, nothing as thrilling as yours. It was my freshman year in college, and my grades were just terrible, in the sense that I became given a warning for academic probation.
Yep.
Reason for that is just because I wasn't motivated. High school, A/B student. Sure. And I was on the basketball team. College, couldn't join the basketball team. So I'm like, well, that was the reason for keeping my grades up. They fell. Get this warning. And I'm like, well, I'm on academic probation. Nothing I can do about that.
Something you could have done beforehand.
Could have done.
Are you dealing with it?
Yeah, sure. Exactly. But I'm like, all right, I already got the news. I already had the grades are what they are. And so I just tell my dad immediately. I'm like, I'm on academic probation or the warning of, I can't even remember which one it was.
Sure.
So he gets mad at me, reasonably so. But I'm like, I can't. I might have already told him this, or I was just thinking like, well, there's nothing else I can do now. Like I will just do better. Like.
Yeah.
But luckily, I was able to get off, and not even do from my own doing. One of my grades, I was working with Tyler, and we were in the same class. She was the partner, and she actually went down to the professor, and she told him, was like, "Hey, you marked the grade wrong." Me, I would never have done that. That didn't even cross my mind that the professor got my grade wrong. But because of that, I think that class went, for the one assignment that we did, it went from a D to a C. I'm like, because of her actions, I was no longer on academic probation, and I was able to bring up my grades eventually. They were steadily rising, but that's my little. So, like I said,
okay,
yeah.
Huh. I think also it kind of reminded me of, especially in Vegas. I don't know if it's like this anywhere else, but. You know, obviously money talks. And in Vegas, there's almost always, when you talk to someone and there's a person-to-person interaction, there's almost always a way that you can work your way into or out of situations with money. I remember one time it was a few of us here from Vegas drove down to California. There was a New Year's music festival that was happening. And it was, like I said, me and a few people here met up with some people in California, and then we went out to the event that night, again for New Year's night. And they moved the location of this event like last minute. So doors opened at 8. At like 7 o'clock, they said we have to move from A to B for whatever reason. So like last minute, right? And we're like, oh crap. So we kind of regrouped and figured out the plan of attack or whatever. And then we drove out to this place, and because of traffic and other things, we didn't get there till about, maybe 10 o'clock or so. So a little bit later. And now, in Vegas, that's not a big deal, right? In Vegas, things don't start till like midnight 30, sometimes 1 o'clock, right? But there, in California, there was last call, there are other things. Plus, it was New Year's. Time was of the essence. So we show up, and it was at this warehouse, and I remember just all of us. We got out of the car, and there was just a line wrapped around both sides of the building, 5 people deep, both sides, and we're like, oh my God, this is going to take forever. We're not going to get into this place for like another hour and a half, 2 hours. By that time, it's going to be midnight. By that time the thing is almost over, we're like, oh, crap, like this is not going to happen, just because of all the shenanigans and the silliness. So then I looked around, and I realized that there was security, and they were doing crowd control and whatever else. And I'm like, you know what, here, everyone just chill here off to the side, let me go talk to someone. So I found the dude who was wearing a different color polo, right? Always find the dude who's wearing a different color, because he's generally in charge, right? He or she. So I found a dude. Everyone's wearing like a yellow polo. He was wearing a black polo. So I'm like, let me talk to him. He was right there at the front door. I'm like, hey boss, hey, it's me and the 5 guys and girls behind me. Hey, look, if we all pull together and give you $20 a head, can you get us past this line? And he's like, yeah, how many? 6? $20 a piece, just to get past the line? He's like, let me think about it. I'm like, okay, cool. I planted the seed. He didn't say no. They say no. If they say no right away, different story. But if they don't say no right away, and they think, they say, let me think about it, or well, I shouldn't. Well, then there's an opening, right? So I go back to my friends. I'm like, all right, everyone cough up $20. Everyone does. So I got $120 in my hand. And then, like 5-10 minutes later, he kind of looks back at me. I look at him. We do the whole, we do the nod. He goes he goes up, and he like moves some of the crowd control gates out of the way, motions over, like now's a good time, like go. We're like go, right? So I go up to the dude, give him the handshake, $120 get transferred from me to him. He goes, you guys have a good night, be safe. I'm like, you too, man, appreciate it. So we walk in. Now, to us from Vegas, that happens, right? It's just how things are sometimes, not all the time, right? But sometimes things just have to get taken care of, and that's how you take care of things. In California, I guess that wasn't at least at the time, it wasn't something that was common, or at least not common with my friends who joined us there. I remember one of the gals from the group, she's like, what the F just happened? And I said, Vegas just happened.
Oh, that's so funny. See, I don't always have the biggest pockets to do that. Honestly, when it comes to lines, I usually can finagle my way through a line.
A single person is one thing.
Exactly. And if I can't do it, as some friends is like, I will make a friend or have a cousin real fast. But I remember this one time I was at this one event. I'm not going to say the event because I'm trying to go back. And it was a huge line. And I'm trying to get me and 4 other people with me through this line. Okay. And I'm like, okay. I have to put on my thinker's hat and my Swift boots. And I'm like, all right, watch me real quick because I can't say anything. You just have to see me. I see this security guard trying to block off because there was an opening to the bathroom and everything. And I'm Swift. I'm like, I'm just trying to get a vending machine. And also, I'm in a costume that's very noticeable. Like you can't really not see me. Okay. So, I walked to the vending machine and everything. And he looks back, and I was like, hopefully one of my friends decided to, follow me so I can go somewhere else, just be somewhere else. Okay. And so I did. Come back out, and my friend see me. He's like, how did you? Never mind. We were with him. He's like, yeah, they're with me. Mm-hmm. And then the same thing happened. I can't remember if it was the same day or something else, but same line trying to see someone, and I see someone holding up a sign, like a really big sign, and using it to move people out the way because no one wants to be in a line with someone holding a giant sign, right? Sure. And I'm like, game recognizes game. I see you using the sign to get through.
I see what you're doing.
So I'm like, all right, cool. I'm going to use you to get through this line because now, again, with same 4 people, I'm like, can't say anything. I'm like, you just have to see me and we're gone.
Just follow along.
Just make eye contact with me. You have 2 seconds to make a decision.
That's right.
And within me using the sign, the person holding the sign, it went from having 150 people in front of us to 15. So, we got separated, but everyone had a good time. Everyone got what they wanted to, and we didn't have to wait in the line, for sure.
Yeah, perfect. It's little things like that, right? I mean, we've gotten lucky a few times. I remember back in the day when I was just money was short, and we were trying to get into the clubs, and if there's a line out the door, you gotta deal with it, right? However, there was one specific night that it was a big weekend, like Labor Day, Memorial Day, one big weekend that they had a big DJ playing at one of the clubs, and they had free entry for locals up to midnight. Now, the thing about free entry, if you have gone to a club or whatever, that doesn't mean that if you show up at the back of the line at 11:50, by the time you get to the front, it could be 12:30, 1 o'clock. That doesn't mean you get free entry. It means when you get to the door before 12, you get free entry, right? Doesn't matter what time you get there. So it's up to you to figure out what time you need to be there for this to work out for you, right? So I remember going there with a friend of mine, and we're like, where's the line? We went into the it was inside a casino, which most of the clubs here are like, they have an inside the casino component, and some there's an outside of the casino component. And we show up, like, where's the line? We're like, oh, it's outside. It was a big night, like I said, big weekend, big DJ. I think Marshmello or some big name was performing, right? Steve Aoki, whatever it is. We go outside, and this line is just wrapped along the side of the building. Like, it just goes on forever. And we knew some guys working security, but they weren't working right there at the front. If they're inside the actual venue, or if they're somewhere else, or if they're off for a break or whatever, then we're SOL. Like, we know people, but only when they're there, when we know where they need to be. So I remember, walking the side of the building, and we're like, oh my God, this is going to take hours for us to get in, right? And cutoff is in 15 minutes. It's 11:45. Like, we better get inside quick, otherwise we're going to be SOL for paying cover. And back in those days, it was like $100 for cover was not unusual, right, for a big busy night. So we're like, crap. So we go back inside and talk to security there. And I guess the entrance there was just for the inside entrance was for table reservations, guest lists, and if you know someone, right, all the special fancy people, all the peasants get to stand outside. If you know someone, you get to go inside, right? So we're going back inside, and we talk to the dude, and we're like, hey man, look, it's just 2 locals, just me and her. We're trying to get in. He's like, yeah, look, GA, general admission, is outside. And I go, dude, I get that, but the line is just out the yin yang. We have just a little bit longer for free entry for locals. Look, man, we'll get out of your hair in a second. If we can just get past this right here, get past you, we'll be out of your hair, right? And he's like, and he kind of took pity on us, right? Just you two? And I was like, yeah. He's like, you 2 locals, right? I'm like, yeah. He's like, all right, come on. So he opened the gate for us, right? We walked through, and then we were stuck at another line to get in, because just because you're past the first area doesn't mean you're automatically into the place. You have to then wait for whoever was in front of you to get through their guest list, table service, whatever the hell it is, right? There's always one more line you have to stand in, right? So there was a group of guys and girls in front of us who we knew nothing about them. They were just there as a group, and we're just the two people behind them. And we're pushing it close. It's 11:58. Like, we need to be inside this place like now if you want to get free cover. So they let, I guess the group in front of us was like 6, 7, or 8 guys and girls, and they had table service or guest list or something. So the guy was like, "All right, follow me." They must have table service, because one guy led, like a host led them into the club, and everybody else followed. And then security opened up the clicker or whatever to let them through. And I looked at my friend as they were walking like ahead of me. I turned to my friend and said, "Go, go, 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 go. We're with them." And she's like, "What?" I'm like, "Go." So we followed them, and he's like, "Pretend like you belong," right? That's the biggest thing. As long as you pretend, as long as you look like you belong, chances are nobody's going to question it. And so sure enough, she's right in front of me. I follow behind her. I look at security. I tell him, "We're the last ones." And he's like, "Cool." Collect. Lets us right in. And then again, she's like, "What just happened?" I'm like, "We just got in."
Don't worry about it. We just know
That's right.
We got
That's
in.
Right.
And we're here to have a good time.
That's right. Pretend like you belong. Chances are you do. Okay.
Oh, that. There's so many stories just like that. But
all the best ones.
With that said, I want to ask you, what's something you've done recently that you're proud of?
Something I've done recently that I'm proud of. I mean, I've gone back to school. I'm taking some extended classes at the local university, right? Taking some psychology classes. That's just for my own personal gain. Something I've done recently that I'm really proud of. I don't know. I signed up to become a big brother in Big Brother, Big Sister.
Oh, wow.
So my background check went through, thankfully, right? Interviews went well. I paid them well to say good things about me. So I have to take the orientation now, and then they're going to see if they can pair me up with someone. So hasn't quite come to fruition yet, but I'm down that path. So yeah, I think that has been the most recent, most positive, constructive, proudest thing I've done.
Nice. I hope that goes well, because I've definitely heard of Big Brother Big Sister. So that's a great program. I hope. Yeah. I hope it just goes well for you. Hope you pay them.
Thank you. How about you? Same question.
Let's see. Something recently that I'm proud of. The thing that comes to mind immediately was really helping. Like I said, I was with my uncle this past couple of days, and just helping him set everything up, because with the family gathering that we had, he had many things to do, and we only one person, but so with me just helping him out, he was able to get everything done with time to spare. So that's one thing just recently off the top of my head that I can think of that I'm proud of.
Good.
Again, it's nothing like major, but that's
it's the little things though, right? They add up, right? It's not about the big mountains that you've conquered. It's about the little hills that you've walked over to get to the big mountain, right? So it all adds up.
Yeah,
right?
no, that and the tattoo that I was mentioning, that's actually the meaning behind it too, because it's in the shape of 3 S's, and it stands for a small, simple step, and that's how you achieve any goal.
I like that. Did you ever hear the story about how do you eat an elephant?
I do, one bite at a time.
One bite at a time, right? It's like, yeah, and same with kind of taking that as a parallel to even the book we talked about earlier, right? I think everyone has that passion project that they have in their minds that it'll get done one day, whether they want to write a manuscript, write a book, paint a painting, sculpt a sculpture, or whatever. So everyone has, I think, everyone has that one piece. Usually it's a creative work that they want to get done, right? Again, someday. Well, someday will never happen if you don't put the effort into it. And that's one thing I had to remind myself of, is that, look, this thing is not going to write itself, right? You have to put the work into it. So same thing, right? The book doesn't write itself. It doesn't write itself overnight either. It's an ongoing, continuous labor of love, probably hopefully a passion project that you actually want to do. There is no deadline to do it. But same thing, right? One bite at a time, right? It's an elephant. You got to eat it one bite at a time.
No matter the difficulty, because that is definitely something that I've mentioned this before. The podcast is literally that. I have a vision for it, and didn't know how I was going to do it or what to do, but I'm taking it day by day.
The fact that you did it is more than most people will ever do about their project, right? People always, there's one pet peeve of mine is like the guy or the girl who talks about their passion project, right? I'm going to write this book, I'm going to sculpt this sculpture, I'm going to do whatever it is, right? But they only just talk about it, right? And they remind you of it every 6 months. Like, hey, I'm still working on that thing. I'm like, great, can't wait to see it when it's done, right? But it's like, it's always that empty talk that, they get their drip of dopamine of, yeah, people are really excited about it. Yeah, but well, then where is it? Like put work into it. Don't just tease me with it, but actually like work on it and get it done.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And with that, the question I'm thinking of, do you think we demonize the future as much? Like, people dread the future? Kind of
people dread the future.
The reverse of your question of if we romanticize the past, do we demonize the future?
I think that depends on your personal outlook. I mean, I can't speak for anybody else. I certainly don't. But one thing that does remind me of what you just said is, if you're depressed, you live in the past. If you're anxious, you live in the future, right? So maybe if there's anxiety that you feel about nothing, right? I've never suffered from anxiety and thankfully never had a panic attack. I know people who have suffered from them and they're debilitating. I don't want to take away from the seriousness of what anxiety is. However, if you live in anxiety over nothing, maybe you're living in the future, right? Maybe you're living too much out there and you should maybe focus more on, hey, here's what you have today. And if you live in right now in the moment, chances are you're not going to be anxious or depressed.
I like that. I never thought about that. But yeah, no, I think that is the common thing is that for the demonization of the future is the anxious part of what the what if scenario happens of good or bad actually. What if I do get the thing that I asked for? Then what do I do next? Now
what do you know? Well, now you have the thing in your hand. What do you do with it now? I don't know.
No.
Right? I just wanted the thing. I don't know what to do with it later. I don't know.
But no, I think you made a valid point to be. You didn't say it, but how I took it was be present. Just be present. Live in the moment. Try not to dwell on the past and ponder the future so heavily to where it stops you.
Yeah, there was even a chapter that I talk about a moment, right? I'm going to paraphrase quite a bit, but so the background story is I used to get my hair cut by this hairdresser, and this dude was just a solid. I mean, he cut my hair like nobody's business. He was just a solid, good dude at what he did. And one of the things that he did when he did the whole like shampoo and conditioner portion before the actual haircut, he did this little head massage for like 30, 45 seconds, right? And I looked so forward to it because I just got to just tilt my head back, got the warm water, and it was just nice and quiet, and he just did a little bit of, just kind of caress the head, and it was just his little add-on to, that's just what you got as part of his haircutting service. And I looked so forward to it because it was just so relaxing, so it was just such a good moment to be in. Well, then I realized that I was looking forward to that moment so much so that I built it up in my head, and then when it happened, I was trying to absorb it, but I was still in my head being like, oh my god, I'm getting the head massage, it's feeling great, right? And then it was over, and I realized I was so stuck in my own head about it that I couldn't even relax, stop, and enjoy it. It was over before I knew it because I was so excited about it that when it happened, I couldn't even get out of my head to enjoy it.
That's a new one. I haven't heard anyone say that they're looking so forward to a moment while it's happening that they miss the moment.
I mean, haven't we all had that? Whether it be like a romantic experience or some sort of like chemical experience or, whatever, like you look or like a movie that you get to see with friends or whatever, or a dessert you haven't had in so long and you build it up in your mind so much and then you actually then experience it and you're like, oh my God, it's happening. And it's over because you couldn't even stop to enjoy it.
For me, I hear that when people go to events and all they do is record on their phone.
Oh my God, yes.
And the whole thing is on their phone. They're only looking at their phone. I'm like, right. You're here. You made it. This is your memory. Yep. You don't need to share it with anyone else, but.
And when are you ever going to look at those fireworks that you recorded 5 years ago on your phone?
Never.
You're not. Okay?
Maybe 3 times, maybe a week after showing people, But after that,
It's like at work, right? When we have meetings, and then there's almost always someone who says, "Should we record this?" Right? Most of the meetings we have are online, digital, right? And then somebody chimes in, "Should we record this?" And in the back of my head, I want to fire back saying, "Why? So no one can watch it later?" Sure, right? Sarcastically.
That's what I've learned in school is that as much as I know this information is in front of me and I hit the record button, I'm like, I know I'm not going back to it.
No, it's like when you take screenshots or photos of the, say the instruction on the board, on the wall, whatever it is, right? Instead of taking notes, you take pictures with your phone. You're not going to go back to those pictures and reread the notes. Come on, man! Like, write the notes down or read them on on your screen. Like, you're not going to go back to your phone and be like, no, review the notes. You're not.
No, I've yet to meet someone who said, yeah, I actually did go back 3 months later.
And read the notes, right? And look at the pictures I took, 3 months ago. No, come on, get out of here.
No, I did do it once for a final. I'm like, oh yeah, I think I have this, but they made no sense to me at that moment in time. I'm like, how did we? I'm like, I look at them, I'm like, huh. I have these pictures, but
they mean nothing.
They're just words on a board at this point.
That's right. That's why I gotta pay attention. That's right.
But with everything that we said, something else that I like to bring up, or this is just a tangent, is with like moments of kindness. Something that I've adopted a couple years ago is trying to pass it forward. I've seen it a couple of times too, or heard about it. Like someone, let's just say randomly in a drive-thru is like, "Oh, I'll pay for the next person behind me."
Sure.
Right, and just pass it forward. And
I
try to, with actions that I do, I try to hope that gets the kindness gets passed on.
I always found a little bit bittersweet about the whole pay for the drink for the person behind you, right? Because at the end of the day, sure, you get, first of all, it's a nightmare on the person taking the order because they don't know how much your drink will be, but it's getting prepaid for, right? So what if you need to get 10 drinks for your office, but the person only paid it forward by putting $10 down, right? I mean, it's a nightmare for the person trying to take the order, right? Because how are they going to do the money, right? And then second, look, I understand the idea of it. However, you're not really, you're receiving a free drink, yet then you pay for the person behind you. So really your net outcome is still the same. So yeah, it feels like a good deed, but really the end result is, well, you do it because it's now socially expected because someone else did it for you. What I started doing, go online and get yourself a bag of candy, right? Individually wrapped candies, whether it be this, Sour Patch Kids, it does not matter. Get yourself a bag of individually wrapped candy, and every time you leave the house, grab a handful. Every person you interact with, whether it be the person at the drive-thru taking your order, the bank teller that gives you change, or whatever it is, right? You go to the grocery store and check out with the person. Give those people a piece of candy. It doesn't cost you anything, costs you barely anything, and it makes their day for a minute, maybe only 5 seconds, maybe for the whole day. I've had people tell me when I come back to the store, they're like, you know what, you're the guy with the candy, right? And I go, yeah. It's like, and I've heard people say, that one time you gave me that candy made my day. Like, awesome, hell yeah.
That's what's up. Well, now that's a new bag of tricks that I can use to.
There you go, bag of candy.
Bag of candy.
And when you offer candy to strangers, they're like, wait a minute, do you have a van too? I'm like, yes, but it's got cute puppies in it, so it's perfectly fine.
You're not a child. I promise you. This is.
So it was like when they say, well, I'm not supposed to take candy from strangers. Well, I'm Andy. We're no longer strangers. You have some candy.
I like that.
Flow, right? The flow of life. Like on a personal note, like one of my pet peeves is getting my flow interrupted, right? When I'm going down the freeway at a certain speed, I don't expect you to be at the same speed that I am, but please don't get in my way. If you see me coming down the fast lane, don't make me slow down. I like being in the momentum that I am. And if you mess up my flow, I'm gonna have a problem with you, right? Just don't inconvenience me with your nonsense. How about that?
I like that. For me, living in Atlanta at least, I'm not sure if LA was any different, but the traffic here, people just, I would think it was going, and I'm like, all right, cool, I can, especially on the highway, I'm like, all right, cool, I can hit 70, and then it immediately stops to, yeah, we're about to stop. I'm like, what just happened here?
What just happened? Like, get out of my way. Why can't I just have little bumpers, like on my car, like a little bumper cart? Just like, shut up. My God, if I could have bumpers, on me at like music festivals and just like gently shove people out of my way, I would pay money for that. Just be like, move. The phrase I used a lot, and when we go to places that are shoulder to shoulder, or we go overseas, or wherever it is, right? Move, please, is like my favorite phrase. Move, please.
I like that. Me, I usually try to notice the person, and I either shift. I'm like, all right, I see you're coming. Let me get out the way. But also, I am the friend when it's with the friend group. If I see my friends are congregated in one place, I will become a big brick wall. Just so it's like you cannot go you go around me. So I get that.
Fair. But, okay, man. What do you got planned for the rest of the weekend?
Rest of the weekend, going to Delaware.
That's right, travel.
A lot of traveling. But after that, I have to get my car. Well, I need an oil change, but it's also there's been it's an EPC light that comes on, which is really bad because it's affecting the power that I get in the car. Comes on, the check engine light's supposed to come on with that light. It came on like 3 times, hasn't happened. So I'm like, yeah, can you check this out before I'm...
Maybe a shaky sensor if you're lucky, right? That's it.
Yeah, but that's all I have. What about you? Any plans for the week?
Not a whole lot. I got some schoolwork to do. I'm taking 2 classes this semester. One is a social psychology, which I think I'm going to enjoy. The second one is intro to statistics. I'm not going to enjoy that one. I can already tell. I'm good at math. I like math, but the way that the professor teaches it, the material so far, I can tell that's going to be that one class for me this semester. So I really should do the adult thing and go through the homework and read the chapter and then kind of prepare for it, because it's one of those classes that if you fall behind, you're screwed. It's not like they're it's not like they're modular sections. No, you have to. Everything builds on the things before. The things you learned beforehand. So I can't screw off. I can't just say I'll figure it out later. No, I got to figure this out as we're doing it. So that'll be my adulting for the week.
Good luck with the adulting, but that is math for you. It builds upon itself, unfortunately.
Yeah, there we are.
But
okay, man.
I know. I was about to say. I know I asked for an hour of your time, 15 minutes of your time. We made it. Sometimes I'm surprised that I make it to the hour. But with that said, the floor is yours. You can say anything, sponsor anything, anything.
Hookers and blow, midgets and ponies for everyone. I mean, if that's what you're into, right? Okay. First of all, Julian, thank you for having me. I appreciate the talk. I like how we went back and forth on literally everything and nothing. And just for my own personal plug, if your listeners have enjoyed some or any of the stuff that's been coming out of my mouth the last hour and change, if you go to andysbook.com, there's a picture of me holding it up. You can click on the link right there to buy a copy off Amazon. However, if you'd like, I still have a few copies left in the corner here. If you go to andysbook.com/gift, enter your information. I'm more than happy to send you a signed copy. Julian can attest.
Yeah, he's not lying. Hold up, let me signed copy right here. If you can read that, it's him. It's
don't show everyone, because then they're gonna realize I write the same thing for everyone. Okay? Have to be a mystery, okay?
Perfect. But no, Andy definitely signed my book, and I really do appreciate that.
Awesome. I'm glad you like it. Or I hope you like it. I'm glad you like it. I hope you like it when you do get to reading it.
I read the back. I'm gonna like it.
Good.
But
okay.
With that said, before you go, I forgot something. This is the halfway point of the season. My count is a little bit off, but still halfway point of the season. So that's exciting for me. But
solid.
Before you go, I have a thing, right, that I do with every episode. It's always gonna be a quote. When I have another co-host, they can make it whatever. But my thing is a quote from Ali.Renee1. It's a IG account, Instagram account. But the quote is, "Don't sacrifice future peace for familiar chaos."
For familiar chaos. What do you make of that?
I make of it kind of like how we kind of started off. Don't get so stuck in the past to where you're kind of with rose-scented glasses are, and just staying where you are, when you can be in a better place.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, I think we get comfortable sometimes with the nonsense that we're dealt, and we make it our normal. And then when you're out of it, some months or years later, you look back and you're like, why did I deal with that for so long? Well, because you chose to accept it as normal. Right?
Yep.
So I like that.
Yep. So that's the thing. And my little send off for everyone is don't forget to ask yourself, ask others, and never stop asking questions. See you.